Hello, Julie here, and thank you for joining me here on my YouTube channel today. I created a junk journal using a little golden book, and I thought that I might take you on my journey to decorating or filling this little album. My project today is a little booklet to put in a pocket in the front of the book, and I thought that you might like to watch and see how this was created. I started out with, actually these started out life as two sheets of 12 by 12 paper, you know, the white paper that you get in the albums, scrapbooking albums when you buy them. They're fairly thin, they're not really strong enough to put a scrapbooking layout on. Anyway, I've got two of those and I've cut them down to 8.5 by 12. So to make the little booklet, we fold each sheet into halves one way and then into halves the other way. So we've got 4 sections or 2 folds on our piece of cardstock. You could score this if you wanted to before you folded it, and probably easier. I probably should have done that, and I probably would have got a better, more neat, I suppose, booklet in the end, because this booklet doesn't actually have perfect edges. Next I'm going to take my scissors and cut up on one of those folds. So I'm cutting on the longest edge up to that centre fold. I'm going to do that for both pieces. So I'm going to use both of these pieces to make the one booklet. Now I'm going to form this section. I'm going to lay those pieces flat onto my desk and fold back onto the piece that hasn't been cut. I'm going to do my best to line up all of my edges. As you can see, they're not perfect, and this is where the scoreboard probably might have been a big help. So, and once I've got that all folded into place, I'm going to use my bone folder and really score those lines in so they're nicely folded. So once again, I'm just going to fold back. This is actually going to form a pocket, this centre section. Fold it down and score it so that it sits nice and flat. So that gives us 2 booklets that have each got 3 pages in them. The middle page will be a double page. We'll make that into a pocket. Before we actually assemble the pocket and the booklet, I'm going to use this hole punch. It's a 1-inch hole punch, I think, and I'm just going to punch a little finger pull area in the top of those, or in the front section of those 2 that are sort of joined together. So that is going to be the finger pulls for where our little tag will go in. I'll do that for both booklets. As I said, these 2 sections will be joined together to make one booklet. But they both, at this stage, because they're not joined together, they both are treated exactly the same way. I'm also going to use the hole punch to create a finger pull area on the back page of one of the booklets, only on the one booklet. Having said that, I'm only using 2 sheets of paper to do this booklet. You could use as many as you like, and you make your booklet as thick as you want it to be. But for this little project, because I'm putting it inside of a book, I don't want it to be too thick. Now I'm going to start to glue my pockets up. I'm using my art glitter glue. I love this glue. It dries perfectly clear and it has got no gloss to it, so even if you get a bit of an overspill of glue, you can't really see it when it's dry. Well, you can't see it at all when it's dry. So I've folded the booklet down, just leaving that back section out separate, and run a bead of glue up the two edges. We don't need one along the bottom because we've got that fold there. And I'm positioning that, folding that up and burnishing it into place to make sure that I get a good stick. So that has created that first, or that pocket in the middle of this little booklet. So now I'm going to join the two booklets together. To do that, the piece at the back that we put the little finger nook in, I'm going to run a bead of glue along the top and bottom and the inside edge, so down the left hand edge, and then I'm going to stick the two booklets together using that. Now that is going to create a side opening pocket as opposed to the top opening pocket that's in the centre of this first part of the booklet. So I've just layered those on top of each other as neatly as I can, trying to line everything up. As I said once before, depends on how good your folds are, how actually neat your booklet is. So there we have a top pocket, and now we have a side opening pocket, and then now we're going to do the last top opening pocket. So this is going to be glued up just exactly the same way as that first one. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue down the right hand edge and the left hand edge, and then fold that rest of that booklet up to make that full pocket. Now I'm going to make the cover for my little book. I'm using a piece of 13 Arts on the wall paper. This actual one is called Roses on the Wall. Now I've had this for quite some time, I would say probably 5 years. So I'm cutting that down. My booklet is 6 inches tall and about 4 inches wide, 4¼ inches wide. So I'm cutting my pattern paper 6 inches tall because I want, oh actually I cut it 6¼ inches I think, so just a little bit of an overlap at the top and bottom, and I cut it 9 inches or no 8¾ inches long. So that gives me a little bit of room to go around the spine, or curve around the booklet without being too tight. So once I've got that cut, I'm going to just test it, make sure it fits. When I'm doing that, I don't want to have a sharp crease at the spine. I'm going to just let that curve around there in a curve, not a sharp fold. So next thing is to, well, first of all, make sure I've got the paper on the right way up. Make sure I've got my pocket tops at the top of the pad booklet and not at the bottom. And then I'm going to use my art glitter glue to attach that pattern paper to the front and back of the booklet. Now when I apply the glue to the pattern paper, I'm going to go around the edge and down through the middle, but I'm not going to go right up to the edge of the spine. I'm going to leave room there for the book to be able to open and close without being hindered by the glue stuck to the spine. I'll do that for both the front and the back, and that will make the cover fit securely onto my book. I have got a little, I'd guess about a 1/8 of an inch border around my booklet, so that's because I have cut my pattern paper just that slight bit bigger. Once I've got that pattern paper attached to my booklet, I make sure that I get rid of any excess glue, and then I use my bone folder to burnish that cover onto my booklet. I want it to be as firmly fixed as possible. So my idea was to create this little booklet to go into this first pocket on this pink sheet, so just tuck in there. So now I'm going to embellish my little booklet. I'm going to use this distress ink in Vintage Photo and my little blending foam, and just ink around the edge of the booklet on the outside. This sort of gives it that bit of a distressed look, and I'm quite partial to that look. I'm not that experienced with junk journals. It's something that I've just recently found interest in, and yeah, I'm quite intrigued with the way they look and the shabby chicness of it, I guess you'd say. So yeah, this is something new for me, and I hope you're enjoying watching the video. Now I'm going to make some tags to go into my little pockets. So I'm going to cut the ones for the top loading pockets about 3.5 inches wide by, I did originally cut them at 6.5 inches, but I decided to cut them down to 6. So they're 3.5 by 6 for those two. And the one for the side opening pocket is a different size as well. That one is 5.25 by 4. I'm going to use the same pattern paper that I used for my cover, and this McGill 3-inch tab punch or file tab punch, and I'm going to punch 3 tabs. Once again, I'll ink around the edges with my Vintage Photo Distress ink and my foam inking tool, and then I will fold those over in halves. I can never get the 2 edges to line up perfectly on this punch. Before I attach my tabs to my tags, I'm going to use my corner rounder and round the corners, all 4 corners on each tag, and then I'm going to ink around the edge of the tags with the same ink. So because I've got 2 different sizes to go in 2 different places, I did the 2 with the tags at the top first. I'm using my art glitter glue once again to attach those tabs. Then I'm applying a fairly liberal amount of glue, and then I will, because it's liquid, it gives me a few seconds to move it around until I'm happy with the position. And once I am, I use my bone folder to burnish those on there so that they stay in place. I'll do the ones with the top tabs first, and then I'll do the one with the side tab. That way I won't end up with the top tab on the side one and vice versa. I wanted to decorate the front of the book a little, but I didn't want any dimension to it because it has to fit inside that pocket. So I've got this 13 Arts His and Hers embellishment sheet, I guess, or fussy cut sheet. So I'm cutting out that strip that's got the 3 butterflies on it. I will straighten that up using my trimmer, and then I'll mat that on a piece of the same pink cardstock that I made the tags out of. I then attach that to the front of the booklet using my art glitter glue. So that's my little booklet for my journal. It's got 3 pockets and 3 tags and plenty of room for journaling. I may well add a few more little embellishments inside of the booklet, but they'd have to be very flat because they have to fit into this pocket, and they're, I don't want it to be too bulky. So that's my project for today, a little booklet for my Cinderella junk journal. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I will video each time I make something for this junk journal, and I hope that you can follow along with me. So thank you once again for being here, and I hope you can join me for my next video. Bye.